Hungary did not enter World War II out of ambition alone. It entered the war bleeding from an old wound. Long before the first bomb fell, Hungary was already broken, humiliated, and desperate to rewrite its fate. To understand Hungary's role in World War II, you must go back to 1920 and the Treaty of Trianon. This single treaty reshaped Hungary's entire psychology. Nearly two-thirds of its territory was taken away. Millions of ethnic Hungarians suddenly found themselves living under foreign rule in Romania, Czechoslovakia, and Yugoslavia. The country lost access to natural resources, railways, and defensible borders. What remained was a smaller, poorer, and deeply resentful nation. This loss was not just territorial, it was emotional. Hungarian politics, education, media, and even family conversations revolved around one idea: revision. Hungary wanted its lands back. Every government that followed Trianon was judged on one question alone: could they undo the treaty? By the 1930s, Europe was shifting. Germany and Italy openly rejected the post-World War I order. To Hungarian leaders, this looked like opportunity. Regent Miklos Horthy ruled Hungary as a kingdom without a king, balancing authoritarian control with conservative nationalism. He was not initially a Nazi, but he was a realist. Hungary could not reclaim lost land alone. It needed powerful allies. Germany offered exactly what Hungary wanted: territorial revision. In exchange, Germany expected loyalty. The first Vienna Award in 1938 returned parts of southern Slovakia to Hungary. In 1940, the second Vienna Award handed northern Transylvania back from Romania. These victories were celebrated wildly inside Hungary. Parades filled the streets. For many Hungarians, Germany was no longer a threat, it was a benefactor. But every gain came with a cost. Hungary was slowly tying its future to Adolf Hitler. Although Hungary tried to appear independent, its room to maneuver shrank with every agreement signed. Anti-Jewish laws were introduced even before German occupation, restricting Jewish participation in professions, education, and public life. These laws were framed as nationalism, but they mirrored Nazi ideology. By 1941, Hungary stood at a crossroads. Staying neutral meant risking German anger and losing newly regained territories. Joining the Axis meant war. When Germany invaded Yugoslavia in April 1941, Hungary participated, reclaiming parts of Vojvodina. Later that year, after a mysterious bombing of the city of Kassa, Hungary declared war on the Soviet Union. Whether the bombing was accidental or staged remains debated, but the decision was final. Hungary was now fully inside World War II. Hungary's war quickly turned from political calculation to human tragedy. The Eastern Front was not prepared for weak allies, and Hungary paid the price. Hungarian forces sent to fight the Soviet Union were poorly equipped and inadequately trained. The Second Hungarian Army, deployed near the Don River in 1942, was expected to hold a long defensive line with insufficient weapons, minimal winter gear, and almost no armored support. German commanders viewed Hungarian troops as expendable. When the Soviet counteroffensive began in January 1943, it was devastating. In freezing temperatures, Soviet forces shattered Hungarian positions. Entire units collapsed. Soldiers froze to death, starved, or were captured. Out of roughly 200,000 men, more than half were killed, wounded, or taken prisoner. This catastrophe broke the illusion of glory. Hungary was bleeding for a war it did not control. Back home, the population felt the strain. Casualty lists grew longer, food shortages worsened, bombing raids increased as the Allies targeted access infrastructure. Hungary's leaders began to panic. Horthy and his government quietly searched for a way out. By 1944, it was clear Germany was losing the war.
Hungary attempted secret negotiations with the Western Allies and even the Soviet Union. This was a fatal mistake.
Hitler suspected betrayal and acted swiftly. In March 1944, German troops occupied Hungary without resistance. The country lost what little sovereignty it had left. With German occupation came radicalization. Adolf Eichmann arrived to organize the deportation of Hungarian Jews. In just a few months, more than 400,000 Jews were deported, mostly to Auschwitz. This was one of the fastest and most efficient deportation campaigns of the Holocaust. Although Horthy later attempted to halt the deportations, the damage was done. Hungary's moral collapse matched its military one. In October 1944, when Horthy again tried to exit the war, Germany responded with Operation Panzerfaust. Horthy was forced to abdicate, and the fascist Arrow Cross Party took power under Ferenc Szalasi. Terror spread through Budapest. Jews were murdered in the streets and along the banks of the Danube. Hungary was no longer just a defeated ally, it had become a battlefield.
The final phase of the war turned Hungary into ruins. As the Red Army advanced westward, Hungary became one of the last major Axis strongholds. The Siege of Budapest began in December 1944 and lasted over 6 weeks. The city was encircled, starved, and bombarded relentlessly. Civilians hid in basements without food, heat, or medicine. German and Hungarian forces attempted multiple breakouts. Almost all failed. Tens of thousands died in brutal street-to-street fighting. When Soviet troops finally captured Budapest in February 1945, the city was shattered. Bridges lay in the Danube. Entire neighborhoods were destroyed. Hungary officially surrendered in April 1945. The consequences were severe. The country fell under Soviet influence and would remain behind the Iron Curtain for decades. Borders reverted almost entirely to the Trianon lines, making Hungary's wartime sacrifices meaningless in territorial terms.
The human cost was enormous. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers were dead or missing. Over 500,000 Hungarian Jews had been murdered. Cities and infrastructure were devastated. The dream of revision had led only to ruin. World War II left Hungary with painful lessons. Aligning with powerful regimes out of desperation can destroy national independence. Short-term gains can hide long-term catastrophe. And unresolved historical trauma, when mixed with nationalism, can push a country into moral and physical collapse. Hungary entered the war seeking justice for past wrongs. It emerged defeated, occupied, and scarred. Its story a warning written in blood. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.